Welcome to Mr. R's art class. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thumbs, subs, and ring that bell. Once you have that big blank sheet of paper, you make sure that you place it in the same direction that your printed image is sitting. So you need to make sure that you have your image sitting in front of you right side up, and you have to figure out again, is it longer vertically or is it longer horizontally? So depending on that, you need to make sure that you put the big piece of paper in that same direction. So right now, the way that my paper is sitting is not the same as our printed image. Right now, the big piece of paper is sitting in front of us horizontally. That means it's longest from left to right or from right to left. And it needs to sit in the same direction as our printed image. So that means it's longest from top to bottom or from bottom to top. Okay, so once you have your big piece of paper that you're going to put a grid on, go ahead and put your printed image to the side and go ahead and put that blank sheet of paper in front of you. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to go to the bottom of the paper, again making sure that your paper is sitting longest in front of you from top to bottom, and you're going to line your 0 on your ruler. The 0 is that first black mark on your ruler. Some people think it's the edge of your ruler, and some rulers it might be, but on this ruler it's that first black line is lined up with the left side of your paper. And you're going to make a mark at a 1/2 inch because we're going to make a frame here. So you're going to make a mark at a 1/2 inch. A 1/2 inch is that medium-sized mark there, and you're going to scoot your 0 to that medium-sized mark, and the grid on this big piece of paper is going to be every 2 inches, so every even number, so 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, and that's as far as our paper goes. And what you're going to do is you're going to slide your ruler to the top. You're not going to rotate your paper, you're not going to rotate your ruler, you're just sliding your ruler to the top. You want to line your 0 again with the left side. 0 is that first black line. You're making a mark at a 1/2 inch because we're making a frame. Line your 0 with that frame, scoot your 0 to that mark, and make a mark at every 2 inches. Again, making sure that that first black line is lined up with the mark we just made, so every 2 inches, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And you're going to go ahead and connect these marks from the top of your paper to the bottom of your paper. So starting with the frame. And make sure when you're connecting these marks that you're drawing very lightly, because eventually you're going to erase these lines. These are just as guides to help transfer your image from the printed image to this big piece of paper. So there you go, you have the lines that you made from the top to the bottom of your paper. And now what we need to do is we need to make a frame down here at the bottom of our image. And so you're going to rotate your paper so that your frame that you made, that 1/2 inch frame, is on top of. And now your paper is sitting in front of you horizontally, again with the frame on top that we just made. And you're going to line your 0 with the left side. Line your 0 with the left side. Your 0 is that first black mark. You're going to make a mark at a 1/2 inch. Scoot your 0 to that mark that you just made and make a mark at every 2 inches. Again, this is a 2 inch by 2 inch grid. And you're not going to rotate your paper, you're not going to rotate your ruler, you're just sliding your ruler to the top. Make sure that your 0 is lined up with the left side of your paper. Make a mark at a 1/2 inch. Again, that medium-sized mark. Scoot your 0 to that mark, and we're in the frame right now at the top. And you're making a mark once your 0 is lined up with that 1/2 inch mark, and making a mark at every 2 inches. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. And you're going to go ahead and line those marks from one side of the paper to the other side of your paper. Again, you're drawing these lines lightly because eventually these grid lines will be erased. They're just guidelines to help transfer our image from the printed image to this big piece of paper. And again, this is a good technique to do in order to not trace or to get away from tracing. And so we have a little square over here in the top left hand corner, so we could go ahead and draw an X inside that little square, and we're going to rotate our paper counterclockwise, and so the X should be on the bottom left hand corner. So same thing that we did with this printed image is we're going to put the ABCs on the left hand side, and this paper is a little bit taller, so it goes to I, and that's okay because there's nothing up there anyway. And then on the bottom, making sure that you have the numbers. And again, you might have an extra number here, but that's okay because there's nothing in that space anyway. So what you would do is you would work on this one box at a time. And again, you could even start transferring this lightly in case you do make a mistake. And again, this grid is just there to help guide you along the way. And you're looking for little hints. So right now, you could draw any detail that you have inside A1. A1, you probably have this arm here and this shock for C3PO. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of start up here. I'm going to start with the outline little by little. So right now I'm inside of D1, and so you would find D1 on this big piece of paper, and you're just working on one square at a time. So you're working on a little piece little by little, and you're looking for hints. So I know that where this mark is, it's a little bit, I'll try to make this a little bit darker here. It's a little bit more than halfway of this square. So I'm going to go up here, and then it kind of goes into D2, so D and 2, and you're going to find D2 on your big piece of paper, so D2, and you're going to go ahead and kind of go over to where the shoulder is, and it looks like his neck kind of starts a little bit more than halfway of this square, so I'm going a little bit halfway, a little bit more than halfway, and then I'll start coming up over here, crossing over into E2, so E2, then finding E2 on the big piece of paper. And again, you could do this lightly. You would do this a little bit slower than what I'm doing. Then you come over here to the side. And again, what I said is that you're looking for little hints. So you have the neck here, and then you have the side of the head, and it looks like they kind of match up or meet up there. And so you come down, and again, this would match up. And I can make this a little bit darker just so you can see. And what you don't want to do is do it too dark, because what we're going to do is we're going to ink all over all of this with a permanent marker. And then once it's all inked up, we'll come over here with an eraser and erase all these grid marks. And then you'll have your image sitting in front of you. So I have a pre-drawn picture of C3PO, so let me show you what that looks like. And again, this is not with tracing, obviously, because this image is a lot smaller than this bigger piece of paper. And we're doing a grid transfer. Again, just to remind you, we're doing a grid transfer to kind of help get you a little bit more comfortable with focusing on one small area at a time, and to get you away and a little bit more comfortable with not tracing. So let me show you what that big picture looks like. And so this is what I just drew a little while ago here. And so you can kind of see the outline. I drew really lightly because, like I said, I'm going to come over here with a permanent marker. And anything that's black, I'll come over with a permanent marker. Maybe some of these areas I might keep with pencil, so I kept it light. And again, so once you kind of draw everything with your permanent marker, you would come over with an eraser. Even these lines I drew a little bit too dark just because I wanted you to be able to see it on the camera. But again, this is a good technique to help you kind of get a little bit away from tracing and get you more comfortable with drawing and focusing on little small areas one at a time. So even some of these details here, you're using the grid to kind of help you along the way. Okay, so if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And feel free to watch any of the other related videos.